Normally when we publish our Victoria bundle, that's a compilation of the two major reports, top 5 Melbourne hotspots and top 5 regional Victoria hotspots. Normally, the major interest is in the Melbourne report, but indicative of the changes that are happening in markets around Australia now, there's greater interest in the regional Victoria report. And this reflects significant changes in property markets around Australia. Sydney is no longer rising, but regional New South Wales is coming very strong. Melbourne is no longer rising, but regional Victorian markets are. In fact, in some of them, the prices are rising very, very strongly, and in others, sales activity is picking up, suggesting that prices will rise strongly in those markets as well. So when you get the Victoria bundle, I suggest that you have a particular focus on the regional Victoria report. We're seeing locations such as Ballarat rising very strongly. Bendigo has surged recently and is starting to challenge Ballarat for the title of the leading regional market in Victoria right now. And there are other locations, some of them north of Melbourne and others that outside Melbourne to the southeast. Is particularly strong growth southeast of Melbourne, just outside of the Melbourne metropolitan area. The Shire of Cardinia has been a very, very strong performer on population growth, and in particular in the last 12 months on price growth. The median house prices for towns like Officer and Pakenham have grown more than 20% in the last 12 months. And we're starting to see similar things happening in the Baw Baw local government area, which includes towns such as Druin and Warragul. This is one of Australia's actually leading population growth areas recently on percentage growth terms. A lot of people and also businesses are moving out of Melbourne to these towns which are still very much in touch with Melbourne and close to important facilities like the Western Port, for example. But of course, the land is much cheaper and the houses are much cheaper, and people are moving there for affordability reasons and lifestyle reasons. So we're starting to see very, very strong population growth in places such as this, and also as a consequence, strong sales activity rises and rises in prices. Melbourne still has growth, but it's primarily happening in those fringe areas, the most affordable areas on the fringes of the Melbourne metropolitan area, including the Shire of Melton, where there's been absolutely phenomenal growth in median prices in the last 12 months, and also up in the north in places like the local government area of Whittlesea and also Hume. So that's the trend in Victoria to note, that the growth perhaps 4 years ago started in the inner city areas, the $1 million suburbs, and gradually over time it's rippled out to the point that right now, in the last 12 months, the big growth in Melbourne has been those fringe areas, the outer ring suburbs. Very, very strong price growth there in the last 12 months, and it's rippled further beyond to regional markets within, say, 1 to 2 hours of Melbourne. So people can live in these places affordably. There's plenty of jobs in places like Ballarat and Bendigo, but you can also buy and live affordably in these places and commute back to jobs in Melbourne because of very good and strong transport links. So that's the Queensland Bundle Report. I recommend it to you. It's great information, and you'll find, particularly in regional Victoria, great prospects for price growth in the near future and for the long term.